Hey guys, I'm Mariam, and I'm here to talk about solutions today. And I wanted to focus about three main things about solutions when you're considering using them for dynamic CRM. And first thing is, what really is a solution? So you might have seen them inside of Dynamics, but you really weren't sure how to use them or what they were for. And solutions are really a way for you to bundle changes that you're making inside of Dynamics CRM and be able to export those changes and import them into a different system. So think about how you use your DVR. You can record something as it's going on, and then you can stop it and use it later. Well, a solution allows you to record your changes and save those inside a file, export them out of CRM, and then import them into a different CRM system. And so an application for this would be, let's say you have a sandbox environment with your dynamic CRM. And for those of you that don't know what a sandbox is, it's just a place for you to play around with a CRM system that's not actually in production or live. So if we have a sandbox environment and you're a developer or you're an administrator and you're making changes to that environment, you want to be able to deploy those changes to the production environment easily. If you create a solution and put those changes inside of the solution or capture them there, then essentially what you're doing is recording those changes or making pointers to those changes that you've made in the system, and therefore you'll be able to export that solution and import it into your production environment. Easy, right? Well, there are a couple of confusing factors that come up when we're talking about solutions. And if any of you have ever gone to export a solution, you'll know this. Exporting a solution gives you the option to export as a managed or an unmanaged solution. And so this is where it gets a little bit hairy, confusing, and even frankly can cause problems. And so my theory, or one of my mantras, is when in doubt, when you're exporting or using solutions, use an unmanaged solution. An unmanaged solution allows the users in the new system or the system to which the changes have been deployed to make changes to those modifications that were imported. So what do I mean by that? Let's say we have an option set in our sandbox. And so we have three values, A, B, and C on that option set. And we put that in a solution and we export it out and import it into our production environment. So we have those three options, right? A, B, and C on that option set. In an unmanaged solution, I could go into that option set in production and let's say add another option there, put a D. With a managed solution, I'm essentially locking down the changes. So every time I import changes into my production environment that are managed, I'm saying, no, these changes can only be made back in that original location where you made these changes to begin with, which would be the sandbox environment. So you want to be really careful. The benefit of this is if you make a managed solution is you're really not allowing anybody to make changes in your live environment. You're controlling the changes to only be made inside of your sandbox. And so that's really great. And there could be some negatives to this though. So let's say your sandbox environment gets shut down, you no longer have it. Well, that kind of ties your hands. You would never be able to then make changes to those modifications inside that solution that were originally made in the sandbox. So be super careful. When in doubt, use an unmanaged solution. If you have to though, my rule number 3 is that we're going to be making, every time you export a solution, always export it 2 times. So export it once as managed and export it again as unmanaged. Just in case you need to go back to that solution or you no longer have that sandbox environment, you always have this unmanaged or unlocked solution that you can get into if need be to make changes in the future. And so if we have both copies and you put them somewhere that's getting backed up, or you've emailed them to yourself and you have that in several locations, then you're essentially making yourself a safety net in order to catch those changes. So let's review. Number 1 is, what is a solution? Solutions are places where we can capture the changes that we're making in one environment and deploy them to another environment. The number 2 thing to remember is, when in doubt, use an unmanaged solution. Number 3, every time we perform an export of a solution, we're always going to be performing it 2 times. Once is managed and once is unmanaged. If you follow these rules, you shouldn't have any problems in the future. Catch me next time when we'll be talking about more topics on Dynamic CRM.